Hello and welcome to the viewers of this video. This is the Orange Fan here, bringing you another entry for the episode Recap and Thoughts category. This video will be dedicated to the FUNimation dub of episode 123 of Dragonball Super. Picking up where we last left off, we begin this episode with Vegeta collapsing to the ground after being hit by an energy blast from Jiren. Goku goes to check on Vegeta. Jiren turns his back towards Vegeta, calls Vegeta warrior, and tells him to go to sleep. Kay and Vermod say that Vegeta should consider it an honor to be called warrior by Jiren, but they still can't resist acting smug and go on about how Jiren is superior compared to all other fighters, and this leads to Android 18 calling them arrogant. Future Zeno turns his back and he repeats the line that Jiren just said to Vegeta, calling Vegeta warrior and telling him to go to sleep. Present Zeno then comments about how Jiren is really cool, and future Zeno agrees with the sentiments of his alternate timeline counterpart. Vegeta notes that Jiren is still not using his full power, and Goku prepares to fight Jiren once again. Meanwhile, we see Dispo throws Frieza into some rubble after running around the arena while grabbing Frieza by the tail. But after Frieza is thrown into the rubble, we see that Frieza is hardly, if at all, hurt. And Frieza says something along the lines about how he's not impressed with Dispo's power. Frieza then launches multiple death beams towards Dispo, but Dispo is able to dodge all of these death beams. Elsewhere, we see Top is continuing to hold his own against both Gohan and Android 17, and eventually the leader of the Pride Troopers is able to knock both Gohan and Android 17 into some nearby rubble. Android 17 says that Gohan shouldn't try to coordinate attacks with him because Android 17 thinks that they can't pull off coordinated attacks since this is the first time that they've teamed up, so they never had a chance to practice coordinated attacks before. And Android 17 thinks that trying to pull off coordinated attacks when they haven't practiced any coordinated attacks will end up hindering the numbers advantage they have over Top, the fact that it's 2 against 1. Android 17 then suggests that he distract Top while Gohan take advantage of that distraction to knock Top off the arena, even if it means Android 17 also ends up being knocked off the arena. So Android 17 goes to fight Top again, and eventually Top grabs Android 17's arm, and when that happens, Android 17 traps Top and himself within an energy barrier. Gohan then charges a Kamehameha, and then he launches the Kamehameha towards the energy barrier. So the energy barrier is now being pushed towards the edge of the arena. Top notices this, and he punches Android 17, which seems to deactivate the energy barrier. In the end, Top is not eliminated from the Tournament of Power, but Android 17 isn't eliminated from the Tournament of Power either. So back with Goku, who's still preparing to fight Jiren again, Krillin and Tien explain to Shin that Goku is testing the distance between himself and Jiren. Krillin and Tien bring up how long-distance attacks have proven ineffective against Jiren, so Goku has figured that he's going to have to use close-range attacks against Jiren. Piccolo also comments that, Piccolo adds to the conversation. He comments about how Goku will have to use any method he can think of to make and target a slight opening, and Android 18 acknowledges that it's a matter of trying to figure out how to make such an opening in the first place. So Goku begins to use instant transmission to teleport near and away from Jiren, and while he's doing this, we also see that Goku is leaving very small energy blasts on the ground around Jiren, And eventually, Jiren unknowingly steps on one of these small energy blasts, and we find out that these small energy blasts are energy landmines. That's what Tien calls them in the Funimation dub, anyway. So, so Jiren unknowingly steps on one of these energy landmines, and this causes a chain reaction of multiple energy landmines to explode. Vegeta, however, notices something, and he points this out to Goku. What Vegeta noticed is that Jiren jumped into the air just when these energy landmines began to go off. So Goku then launches multiple Destructo discs towards Jiren, but Jiren is able to counter all of these Destructo discs. Eventually, Goku and Jiren's fight leads to Jiren preparing to deliver a finishing blow towards Goku, but then it's revealed that there was another Destructo disc, and this Destructo disc cuts up the part of the rubble that Jiren is standing on right now, so Jiren is starting to fall off the arena. Krillin recognizes this strategy. This is the strategy that Krillin used when he and Goku were sparring during the recruitment sub-saga of the Universe Survival Saga. Suddenly, though, Jiren is now surrounded by a red aura, and he manages to jump back to the arena. Jiren then proceeds to go through more of the energy landmines that Goku left on the ground before Jiren eventually reaches Goku and Vegeta's current location. So Goku and Jiren begin to fight yet again, and eventually Jiren throws a punch, and when Jiren throws this punch, it looks like an energy blast was launched from this punch, and the energy blast goes right past Goku's head. Goku is shown to be very surprised by the power from this, we'll call it an energy blast punch, and Goku ends up changing back to his normal form. Kei and Vermont continue to act smug, and they comment about how Jiren is showing a hint of his true power, and the energy blast punch that everyone just saw was simply a mere punch to Jiren, or from Jiren's perspective, that was just a mere punch. Jiren then launches more of these energy blast punches towards Goku, and eventually Goku compliments Jiren's power, but he says he's not going to back down. And this inspires Vegeta. Universe 7 Saiyan Prince manages to stand back up, and he joins Goku in fighting against Jiren, or preparing to fight against Jiren. Universe 7 Saiyan Prince vows that he will make a wish on the Super Dragon Balls. So Goku and Vegeta both transform to Super Saiyan Blue. Goku then combines the Kaioken with his Super Saiyan Blue form. Now, for Vegeta is thinking back on the promise he made to Kappa, the promise that if he, Vegeta, wins the Tournament of Power, he will make a wish on the Super Dragon Balls to restore the existence of Universe 6. So Vegeta is thinking back on this promise he made to Kappa, and this leads to Vegeta unlocking a new form. So this form, in this new form, the hair and eyes are still blue, but they're a different shade of blue compared to the Super Saiyan Blue. In this new form, Vegeta's hair and eyes are still blue, but the blue of this form is a different shade of blue compared to the blue of Super Saiyan Blue. And with regards to the eyes, each eye has both a pupil and an iris, so the eyes look similar to Goku's eyes when he's in Super Saiyan 3 form. Now, according to supplementary material, this form that Vegeta has just unlocked is called Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Evolution, or Super Saiyan Blue Evolution for short, since the former name is a mouthful to say. And I've also seen some translations go with Evolved rather than Evolution, but it gets the same point across. So there's several different names you can call this particular form. So in any case, Goku is in Super Saiyan Blue form combined with the Kaioken, and Vegeta is in Super Saiyan Blue Evolution form. So the two pure-blooded Saiyans of Universe 7 begin to attack Jiren at the same time, and Piccolo notices that Jiren's rhythm is off balance. Whis points out that Goku and Vegeta aren't performing a properly coordinated attack, and that's precisely what's causing Jiren to be off balance. So eventually, Goku and Vegeta's fight against Jiren stops for a moment. It looks like they're all taking a moment to take a rest before they continue to fight. The narrator reveals that 7 minutes are left in the Tournament of Power, and that is how we end this episode. So this episode pretty much picks up where the previous episode left off. We still have 8 fighters participating in the Tournament of Power right now. 5 fighters from Universe 7, Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Android 17, and Frieza, and 3 fighters from Universe 11, Jiren, Top, and Dispo. And the fights that are going on within this greater fight of the tournament are still the same. Goku and Vegeta are still trying to fight Jiren. Gohan and Android 17 are still trying to fight Top, and Frieza is trying to fight Dispo. And but something I liked about this episode, going on with this episode, something I liked about this episode was that we got to see the Universe 7 fighters, or at least most of the Universe 7 fighters, utilize different strategies against their opponents. And coordinated attacks, or fully or properly coordinated attacks, are also brought up in this episode, but this episode also highlights the pros and cons with coordinated attacks. The cons were shown with how Android 17 thought that it was problematic for Gohan to try and coordinate attacks with him when they were trying to fight Top, because they haven't coordinated attacks beforehand, or this is the first time that Gohan and Android 17 have really teamed up. And at the same time, though, the episode does acknowledge that it really had more to do with the fact that Gohan and Android 17 never had the chance to practice coordinated attacks before. So if Gohan and Android 17 had practiced coordinated attacks before, then chances were they probably would have had a much better showing against Top with trying to use coordinated attacks. So that was something I did appreciate. They did show that it was problematic for Gohan and Android 17 to try coordinated attacks, but at the same time, it was acknowledged that it was simply because they never really practiced coordinated attacks before. And at the same time, though, while Gohan and Android 17's awkward attempt at coordinating attacks proved to be problematic against Top, we do see that Goku and Vegeta's attempts to coordinate attacks with each other actually ended up being a pro. Or yes, Goku and Vegeta weren't properly coordinating attacks, or they weren't fully coordinating attacks, but that ended up being to their advantage because that actually threw Jiren off balance, or that threw Jiren for a loop. So that ended up working to their advantage. So I did think that was pretty interesting that this episode in particular highlighted the pros and cons of not properly coordinating attacks. Now, besides that, we do get to see some other strategies. Yes, we see Android 17 and Gohan try to use a different strategy when coordinated attacks didn't work. And it almost worked, but Top was able to catch on to what they were doing at the last second. And Goku got to show a lot of different strategies. Or yes, Goku utilized different strategies. We saw Goku using those energy landmines, and Goku also used the Destructo Disc. Goku used the multiple Destructo Discs strategy that Krillin utilized when Goku and Krillin sparred with each other back during the recruitment sub-saga of the Universe Survival Saga. Now, unfortunately, these different strategies didn't work, but they still were pretty impressive in their own right. If anything else, I think it's just meant to show that Jiren is an insanely powerful opponent, and it does show how formidable Jiren is. Because I do think the strategies themselves were pretty sound, even if they didn't end up working in the end. And something I liked about them highlighting Goku utilizing these strategies was that it does bring up that Goku is brilliant when it comes to fighting. And this also kind of does bring up something that I do feel is a flaw for Dragon Ball Super. I do feel that sometimes Dragon Ball Super has a bad habit of exaggerating Goku to act a bit, or let's put it this way, Goku's not the brightest bulb outside of, or yes, when it comes to topics besides fighting, Goku's not really the brightest bulb, but I do feel that Dragon Ball Super exaggerates that trait more so when compared to Dragon Ball Z and maybe even classic Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball GT. But yeah, I do feel that is a flaw for Dragon Ball Super. Sometimes they make Goku seem dumber than he actually is. Or they do exaggerate the idea of Goku not being the brightest bulb for topics outside of fighting. So seeing Goku actually do, or yes, seeing Goku seeing Goku utilize those strategies and reminding us that, yeah, Goku might not be the brightest bulb in some topics, but he's still brilliant when it comes to fighting. I did appreciate that. That was definitely a highlight of this episode for me. And I also thought it was heartwarming how Goku utilized the strategy that Krillin used during the spar they had earlier in the recruitment sub-saga. And yes, Goku using the Destructo Disc, I do recall him using that in the Buu saga, or at least a similar attack to the Destructo Disc during the Buu saga when he returned to Earth when Gohan was fighting Super Buu Gotenks absorbed, or yeah, after Super Buu had absorbed Piccolo and Gotenks and Super Buu was fighting Gohan, Goku returned to Earth after he was brought back to life, and he used the Destructo Disc, or at least an attack similar to the Destructo Disc. But to be fair, it's also been established that Goku does have a habit of copying techniques, or Goku's a very quick learner when it comes to other techniques, and yeah, actually I do believe Goku used the Destructo Disc earlier in the Tournament of Power now that I stopped to think about it. But I thought it was pretty heartwarming seeing Goku utilize a technique and a strategy from his best friend. I thought that was pretty heartwarming, and it does highlight again how Goku's very good at copying other techniques, or Goku's a fast learner when it comes to learning other characters' techniques, or it reiterates that point, or it highlights that characteristic of Goku's. So besides that, yeah, this episode also continues to show how Kay and Vermont, the Supreme Kai and Destroyer of Universe 11, are acting like arrogant, condescending elitists. Now, yeah, Jiren is very powerful in his own right, so some people would say that Kay and Vermont's arrogance is justified, but other people still think it doesn't make it less frustrating how arrogant Kay and Vermont are acting. So I know some fans said they appreciated how Android 18 called the two out for acting so arrogant, and I agree. I thought it was, I really liked how Android 18 called Kay and Vermont out for being arrogant, condescending elitists. And besides that, yes, I guess the other big thing we should talk about is Vegeta's new transformation, Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. And from what I understand, Super Saiyan Blue Evolution was a transformation that was created for the anime, or the anime, the staff of Toei or Toei Animation were the ones that created Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. And I've seen some people, or the way some fans reacted to Super Saiyan Blue Evolution was similar to how some fans reacted to Super Saiyan Rage, the form that Future Trunks unlocked during the Zamasu saga. And yes, some sentiments I've noticed fans have about both Super Saiyan Rage and Super Saiyan Blue Evolution is that some fans felt that the transformation seemed a little random or came out of left field. And I do acknowledge, I think they could have explained Super Saiyan Blue Evolution a bit better, just like I think they could have explained Super Saiyan Rage a bit better. Although, yeah, we do get some explanation. They say Super Saiyan Blue Evolution was Vegeta breaking out of his shell in his own way, or that's along the lines of what they said. But yeah, I do think that they could have explained Super Saiyan Blue Evolution better, just like I think they could have explained Super Saiyan Rage better. But having said that, I should clarify that I don't have anything against Super Saiyan Blue evolution itself. And I don't have anything against Super Saiyan Rage itself either. I think they're cool transformations. I do think they have cool designs. I think the ideas of the transformations are cool themselves. I have nothing against the transformations themselves, but I do think that they probably could have explained them better for the sake of clearing up any confusion. But anyway, yeah, I would say that's about it for this particular episode. So I did like how this episode highlighted different strategies being utilized. It showed the pros and cons of coordinated attacks that aren't properly coordinated or fully coordinated. I thought that was pretty interesting, both how they showed it was a disadvantage for Gohan and Android 17, but it ended up being an advantage for Goku and Vegeta. And I did also like, like I said, I liked how they utilized strategies, Goku in particular, because it does remind us that Goku is brilliant when it comes to fighting, even if he might not be the sharpest knife when it comes to other topics. And I did think it was heartwarming in particular how he utilized Krillin's strategy from earlier in the saga. And yeah, Goku using the Destructo Disc was another reminder about how Goku is a fast learner when it comes to learning other techniques. And like I said, Vegeta did manage to unlock a new transformation, and I do agree that they could have explained the transformation better, but I still think the transformation itself is cool. And it has a cool design. I think the transformation itself isn't a bad thing. I just agree that they could have explained it better. And yeah, I also did like how Android 18 called out Kay and Vermod for acting like arrogant, condescending elitists. But otherwise, I would say that's about it for this episode. So as of this video, we've now discussed the Funimation dub of episode 123 of Dragon Ball Super on this channel. Take care, and until next time.